Okay, so we're ready to go.
Okay, cool.
So, hi there, everyone. I'm so excited tonight because I've got an expert when it comes to talking about shifting energy and being able to shift your energy to different dimensions. Her name is Nicolette, and welcome, Nicolette. How are you?
Good, fantastic. How are you today?
I love to say this. Sally and I ask me all the time. I love to say this. There is gold dust there in the air.
For sure.
And so, yeah, I'm awesome. How are you? All
Fant-
good?
Yes, I'm here in beautiful Spain at the moment. So the sun is shining as it is here in Australia and escaping the
Yeah.
weather.
Actually, the sun's gone down now. It's 8 o'clock, so looks like you're going to be enjoying the sun.
Will be.
But we're ahead of you in time wise. So if you know what happened to the share market, we can tell you.
That sounds good.
Yeah. Now, Nicolette, the reason why I reached out to you was you're part of our group in I Want More Money, or I Choose More Money, as we've changed it to. And you recommended this book. And my comment to you was, I'm trying to get from the third dimension into the fifth dimension. And you came back to me and you said, well, there's 56 different dimensions. So I was fascinated to find out more about this. And this is what we're going to be talking about tonight. So why don't you just first explain to us what you do?
Yeah, thanks, Paul, and I'm very grateful for this opportunity and this great moment that we can share together. Because at the end of the day, it's all about sharing our wisdom together, and by shifting, we need to shift together. It's all about the money we're talking and choosing and releasing blocks of how to get more money. But money is energy as well. So if you shift the energy, you shift the money situation as well, and I think that's why I related so much to this group as well, because it is about shifting the energy. So what I do is actually, yeah, shifting energy and shifting the energy what is stuck in your body. It's been quite a few years that I was sitting on the couch, sitting stuck and not knowing what to do, not knowing who I was, not knowing what I wanted in my life. And my husband actually asked me, and he said, "What have you been watching on television?" And I didn't watch anything on television. I was just sitting there staring, not knowing where to start. And he asked me a question. He said, "What do you really want?" And I said, "I just want to be happy." And I realized that the spark was gone in my eye, and I didn't have that energy I used to have. I didn't have the passion, and that was all gone. And I was like, there must be a way to find that back and to really shift into gear and to shift the energy. And that's how I really started. But changing the energy within myself, but also then the ripple effect to change the energy of other people.
So how did you discover the journey that you went down? What was the catalyst that helped you?
Sitting on that couch, not knowing where to start.
Yeah.
And I've worked in the luxury hospitality industry for over 25 years. Always needed to be the best, needed to perform, needed to be there, be on par all the time, and just go, go, go. And what I found was the go, go, go in me. I thrive on that. Still, I've needed to find a bit more of my feminine as well, of really calming down and finding that peace and quietness within me. And that's when I understood the difference with the masculine and the feminine energy. And again, it's all about energy and finding the balance. You can't be one um, more than the other. You need to find that balance. And I was way into the masculine energy. And there's nothing wrong with being in there, but it just didn't serve me well anymore. I needed to find that balance, going towards more of that feminine energy and find that inner peace within me and finding truly my soul journey and what I truly stand for. And by changing my energy and being in a different state and a different mindset, in a different emotional state, in a different physical state, that really truly changed everything. And that shifted the energy and that shifted me into different dimensions.
That's fantastic. So you were talking about masculine energy and feminine energy. Can you explain to us what the difference between these two energies is? Because few people would know.
No, absolutely. And it's not about being masculine or being feminine or what we are as a person. And that is not what it is. Every man has feminine energy in them as well, and every woman has masculine energy. We balanced in both. You're usually a little bit more than the other, a bit dominant in one or the other. And females can be more dominant in the masculine energy. So what I mean by masculine energy is the masculine in general is just really the go-getter, the get action taker, the get things done, tick off the list, and being really organized, really structural, but not really showing any emotion. It's just go, go, go. I just need to get it done and don't get in my way. It's my way or the highway kind of thing, and just get stuff done. Well, the feminine energy is more being in your caring energy and your more nurturing energy, helping others, and just a lot softer usually in their energy. And what I mean by that as well is you need to have both, because you can't be that really strong woman on the outside and be on the inside I was crumbling down, and that was what I had. Everybody perceived me as this really strong businesswoman running all these beautiful luxury resorts all around the world, managing thousands of staff. But deep inside, I needed to find my feminine energy and find more of my caring and my loving energy. And that's what I think a lot of many people are looking for, that because they unbalanced and they feel unbalanced and they feel stuck because the energy of the masculine or the feminine is stuck and it's not flowing through them in a positive way, and it's not flowing through in their whole body. And if that's stuck, you need to unstuck that. And that's what I believe with all the energy. You need to change that, and that is in a physical way, but also in a mentally and an emotional way. And then it follows through to the spiritual way.
Right. And that's interesting because that's the next question. You're sitting on the couch, you in your masculine energy, you feeling lost in life, and you get to this realization that you need to, I think you need to share more. Is that right? Or
Yeah, what I really needed to do was something different. I was in the hospitality industry for over 25 years, run these amazing, beautiful resorts all around the world. Was very, very passionate about it, helping others, creating unique experiences. But at that point, I was not passionate about it anymore. My spark was gone in my eye, and I just didn't know what my purpose was in life. And I really wanted to find what I truly wanted to do and be aligned with what I was doing. And I was not really aligned to what I was doing anymore. And that feeling was not a nice feeling. That was the one of not knowing what I wanted to do and what I could offer to this world and why I was actually here. So that's when
and
it really started.
and I suppose what was it that got you onto this direction? Was it a book you read, a documentary you watched,
Uh,
a spirit jumped out at you and hit you over the head? What actually got you onto this journey that you're on now?
I actually saw a little ad on Facebook as we were scrolling through Facebook at those times when we're not feeling the greatest, because it's a nice distraction and temptation to see what everybody else's life is looks like, and better than the one of mine. So yeah, I saw a beautiful lady, and she held a little free seminar down at the Gold Coast where I was living at the time in Australia. And yeah, I went there, and I was like, she was saying to your soul journey to find yourself and find the feminine within you. And I'm like, I have no idea what that means. But something attracted me to those words. And I was like, this is what I want, but I don't know what it means. But let's have a look. And I was sitting there really apprehensive. I was sitting there with my arms crossed and like, what are you going to tell me? Kind of attitude, because I know it all, because of,
You've
maybe,
run all these hotels.
yeah, I know what I'm doing in this world. But there was the other world I didn't know much about. And that's when I listened to her. I met her many, many, many times before I actually took action. It took me about 5 years to really take the action, because I was like, why would I spend like $5,000 on a 5-day retreat, which I have no idea what she's talking about because I didn't speak the same language. I spoke a different language. And I'm not talking about Dutch, where I'm originally from, or English or anything like that, but just a different language. But I knew I wanted that. Deep inside me, I had that feeling, that gut feel that it's like, yeah, this is what I want to do. So years later, I met her again, and she was in a different stage of her life as well. And I finally joined her, and that's when my journey really truly started of the transformation of finding the feminine within, finding more that feminine energy, and also letting go of a lot of things. And that's what really changed. It's not always gaining more knowledge and more information. It's also letting go of the things that don't longer serve you. And that's when I started to release a lot of my emotions, really started my whole journey of detoxing, and detoxing not just of detoxing of doing a juice fast or anything like that, but detoxing in a deeper sense of the word detoxing, like getting rid of, and again, that's not the right words I'm using, removing people out of my life who didn't serve me anymore. So many other things I've done as well is like removing all the plastic in our house, getting rid of all the chemicals in my life, in my body, and everything else. Well, but because that's the things that keep you stuck as well. You can't shift, and you can't shift to a higher dimension if everything in your body and your mind and your soul is still stuck. So you need to declutter and you need to detox first before you can put all the good stuff back in.
So by detoxing, just to get a clearer picture, you're talking about detoxing negative people around you. You're talking,
So many things, definitely negative people, because you become who you spend most time with,
yeah,
and the 5 people you spend the most time with is who you are, and the most time you spend with is yourself. It's yourself. You can't hide away from yourself. So I needed to change myself first and shift into different gears, in order to be able to shift that negative emotions, and that was facing some of the people, family, friends. It's not always easy, but when you see things and you become aware of the negative and the toxic environment you live in, and not everybody lives in a toxic environment, but we all do. Quite often unconsciously, you don't know that you live in a toxic environment. And what I said, a toxic environment was also our house. The things in our house are plastics, the chemicals, the body creams I was using on my body. Your skin is the biggest organ in your body, and we're putting all these things on and in your hair and everything else as well, deodorants, toothpaste, and you name it. It's all toxic what we put on, and to eliminate it as much as possible will change your body and your structure, and it changes on a cellular level. And of course, food is a big one, and most people know about the food and what not to eat and what to eat, but I learned it at a completely different level. um, of no sugar, no dairy, no gluten, all those kind of things. And not saying I'm not having that. You need to allow yourself to have certain things as well, but be aware. Awareness is the first point, of course, and then really take the action. And the action is how extreme or how soft you want to take it.
fantastic. So, so you're now on this journey. You started to detox. Are you now starting to change dimensions, or are you still stuck in the second dimension?
No, like as I mentioned to you before, I was very impatient. I wanted everything yesterday, and I was like, why do I not see the changes? I'm doing all these things, and I did so many healing modalities. I went to all those people who were supposed to be the ones who were helping me. But at the end of the day, it's me doing it. I need to take the responsibility. I need to do it, and people can assist me and hold the space for me. But at the end of the day, it's me doing the work. And that's what I found, that many people, and I say this with all due respect, but say that they're healers and can change you and help you, but at the end of the day, you need to do it. It's holding that safe space for somebody to actually process it and have that intervention to make the changes themselves. And it's just and sometimes it's the way we ask a question that you think, That's what I needed to hear. It's not work for somebody because you can't. And some people will be ready, and that's fine, and that's perfectly fine as well. You can't help everybody, but it's the people. As I always say, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Mm-hmm.
Will be ready for it. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's the work you need to do yourself. But there's great support and community to be around and to help you in your journey. And I understand that people need to take that responsibility themselves at the end of the day.
Yeah. And that's really the common theme when Sally and I are talking. It's you have to do the work. Nobody can do the work for you.
It's scary, and that's why a lot of people don't do it. And that's what I had as well when I was talking to this beautiful lady, and she's still a really dear soul sister of mine because we got so much in common, and that energy attracts energy, like attracts alike. But she said as well to me, it's a journey without a destination,
Mm-hmm.
and not heal you heal yourself. But I hold the safe space for you to process, and that's matters. And that's what I think is different with me. Like, I'm not saying I'm a healer and I do this and this and this. It's really what people do themselves, rather than being told what to do. It's shifting that unconscious.
So it looks like somebody's trying to ring you.
Yeah.
It's something we all forget to do, to turn the damn things off. So what I want to do is I want to go a little bit deeper into this fear, right? But I think fear holds a lot of people back, and you said it's really scary. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, when I was looking into diving deep into myself and doing this with this beautiful lady, I was like, what I'm gonna find? I'm gonna find all these bad things about myself, and I'm not a good person, and I'm mean, and I can be horrible. And I was like, I don't want to find that, but you need to find the dark side or the shadow side, whatever you want to call it, of yourself. But that's part of it, and that's beautiful as well. You need to appreciate that as well, and doing shadow work, and removing all those big emotions. It's scary, but oh gosh, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. And when you go through the tunnel of darkness and you find that light at the end, I'm like, any day, give me more, give me more. It's just addictive when
Yeah.
you feel the way you feel when you've done the work, and letting go of all the stuff that doesn't serve you anymore. But it is scary because it's the unknown. But do you want to be stuck in what you know, and be in your comfort zone, or just, change and shift gears and shift the energy and become that lighter, more patient, loving, caring person who you truly are? Or you want to be sitting in the dark? I wanted to find the light. I didn't want to be in the dark, and I've been in the dark. I've had some really dark experiences, but that's okay. It's not scary. And it's not scary when you're held in a safe place. And that's my real true thing is you need to hold that safe space. You can't do this on your own. You need to find a community. Need to find the people you feel safe with and hold that space for you, and are able and willing to hold that space for you. And the support afterwards is very important as well. There's a reason I'm still connected to her in many ways than one, because that aftercare and the support is a lifelong long journey.
Mm-hmm.
Not a sprint, it's a marathon. We always say it's a journey without a destination. And people will come and go in your life, and they will be there at certain times. But that support, that holding that safe container, as I say, that needs to be there forever.
So that's one of the things that I like to say is that the breakthrough is on the other side of fear, right? So if you find that thing that you are scared of, and so long as, we're not talking about jumping off the side of the mountain. It's a legitimate fear, that one. But so many people have these built up fears in their minds that are just not proper fears. And if we can just face them, and we can get all of these breakthroughs. So Tell me, when was the first time you actually felt as though that you shift into a different dimension? Can you tell us your experience around that?
It was actually when did one of my first breathwork sessions, and I've done many, 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 many after that. Different types of breathwork. Some of the holotropic breathwork, which is really the more heavier breathing and everything else as well, and really releasing a lot, quite often in screaming and noise. I prefer more the rebirthing breathwork, which is a lot more subtle. But shifting there is going into a deeper state of unconsciousness, and very similar to deep meditation for people who meditate as well. But breath work shifts your energy because you're moving the breath through your body, and you're moving the breath in places in your body where it's stuck. And you can do that really specifically. And where it's stuck, it has to do with a certain energy, and it has to do with a certain emotion, because all our parts of our body, our organs and everything has to do with emotions. It's all connected, really all connected. And if you shift the with your breath, the energy at a certain part of your body, which I truly have done. I had a gallbladder issue. I was in pain for days and days. And through breath work and a lot of more of emotional clearing, I really healed myself with my gallbladder. Specialist said, take it out, there's no other way. And I said, what if you then research it and it's all good and it's not cancer? Then do you back? And he's like, no. I said, thank you, but it's gone into naturally and I'll take it out naturally. And literally big stones of toxic stuff came out of my body, out of my. And I just changed all that with also the breath and breathing and breathing and breathing. It's just been incredible how that works. I shifted into different dimensions. I was in a totally different world.
So, can you explain what this world was like? Because people haven't shifted. So, explain. Is it like being in heaven? Is it like being in hell? Is it like being on the clouds? I don't know.
There's different ways. I've been in different areas. I've been in hell and in heaven not at the same time, in different experiences. So you can go really deep and dark into the underworld and shift into really dark places, but you need to shift there. I always say you need to break down before you break through. So you need to go dark before you find the light again. Yeah, one of the experiences I had was just really the underworld, and really I saw death everywhere. I saw people like skeletons and just walking around. I saw just so much anger and so much of the lower energy levels, as I say, because you can't be in fear and love at the same time. So that's one of my sessions, and in many of my sessions. And I shifted through that because I breathed through that whole experience, and I took the learnings from it and implemented that into my life. And then I had experiences in breath work that I've been just like heaven on earth. It's just like all sitting on a pink cloud, floating away kind of idea as well. And it's astral travel, so it feels like you're really in the universe and you're amongst the stars, and nothing really matters, and you don't even feel your physical body, you're just floating. That's one of the experiences I was talking about as well with in the book of Joe Dispenza, Becoming Super.
Yes.
That's he explains one of those experiences as well. And when I read his book, I was like, that's what I had. And it's so hard
Okay.
explain to you actually, because I had that all the time. I heard people talk about it. I'm like, that's what I want, but how does it feel and how do I get there? And not till we actually experience it that you know what it is.
Yeah.
But it is a decision first to make, and it is little steps to get there. And we're shifting constantly. We're shifting now. We're not the same person as we were half an hour ago. We're shifting constantly. So what I had as well was that urge to have that big shift, and I needed to happen now, and I was impatient. Little shifts happen, and it's the integration of the big shifts what makes the difference. It's not the shift itself; it's actually the steps to the shift
All right.
that's
Okay.
the important, and it's the integration of it. we can all have like a shift and you kind of go like, oh, fantastic, I feel completely different. But it's actually what we do with the learnings and implement them, because otherwise you just continue on of doing the same old habits.
So when you're having an experience, whether you're walking through the depths of the darkness or whether you're floating on the cloud, to your physical body in this reality, is this real, or is this just something you've imagined in your mind?
We're all creating our own reality. I was really shifting a lot, and that was the scary bit, between the two worlds. I was not sure if I was here or there, and I couldn't place myself. Now I find that inner peace, and that I got the tools to pull me back. I live here.
Right. Mm.
I'm a spiritual being living a human life, but I live here, and there's a reason I live here on Earth at the moment. But I can shift to other dimensions, but I don't want to be there all the time because life is here for me at the moment. And people say, yeah, I want to shift. Oh, that's great. But it's also not always that great. And that's why some people are not here anymore on this earth.
That was something you were telling me about when I first spoke to you. And you were saying that there's some people that shift into these other dimensions and they don't want to come back, and some don't come back.
That's why we're losing some people, human beings, right? Loved ones all around us.
And so when somebody shifts to another dimension and just decides not to come back, what actually happens to the physical body on this dimension? Does it just die and wither away, or does the person go into a zombie state? What actually happens?
Oh, there's different states people go into, but the main thing is, I believe you move on to a different world and a different dimension. But that's a decision you make if that's what you want to do now, or you see so often, couples who've been together like 50, 60 years, and passes and they're holding hands when one passes. Quite often days or a week, the other might go. They've been married for 60, 70 years, their souls are together. That's what they do because they make a decision. What's the point of being here? I want to be with that person. And they make a decision in their minds, in their heads, of that's it. And I've seen it sometimes. The minute people say, that's it, they're gone. And that's how connected we are. What we think and what we say and how we feel is really what happens. So it's your decision to do what you want to do. And I made a decision, no, it's not time for me. And then I've got so many more things to do here in this life. What happens in the next life, we'll see again. But yeah, not now.
Well, I'm for one glad that you're in this dimension right now.
And I think it's beautiful. I was very scared to go to the different dimension because I thought I was going to leave and not come back and all that stuff. And I was like, no, I don't want that. And, my great teacher said as well, she works, what I said to you, up to the 43rd dimension. And she said, but we all have that capability, but we need to be open for it and be willing to go there. And not everybody wants to and is capable of doing it. And I'm not saying I'm doing it to the 43rd dimension. She's a different level of me. But it's incredible that she opened up to me that this is what I truly want to do here and what I'm here for to do.
So now you mentioned the 43rd dimension, right? So that's where you got me, right? We're in the physical plane is the third dimension. Okay, and then everyone's talking about going into the fifth dimension. But you're talking about the 43rd dimension. So what will be the difference between, let's say, the fifth dimension and the sixth dimension and the seventh dimension? Is it just that you keep going deeper, or is there a definite difference?
What I believe, and people have other opinions about that and views on this, of course, as well, is the shift, what happens in your thinking and your belief system and what is important to you and what are your values. And that shift in consciousness of where you are and what you want in your life is also what it shifts in different dimensions. Um, if you truly believe there's a spiritual world out there, then there is. But if you don't believe that, that's perfectly fine as well. Then there isn't.
Mm.
Then you will be a bit more stuck in the third dimension here on Earth, and that's fine. But you can shift. But it is again a belief.
Yeah.
If I talk to some people, they go like, "Oh, this is all woo woo and this is all crazy." That's what I thought as well years ago.
Yeah.
Years, years. I knew there was something else, but I didn't know. And going all those dimensions, you can't even explain anymore because it's not verbalized anymore because it's a different dimension. They don't actually use physical words. Words are using what we do.
Mm.
So not always things I'll be able to explain, and that's sometimes why I have trouble explaining myself because it's not always easy to explain what you see and what you feel because it's my experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I truly see people struggling explaining themselves, and that's okay. You find your tribe, you find who people who understand you or want to know more about that. And if they
Mm-hmm.
don't, fine as well. And that's how I find my coaches and my you know leaders and my samples of like this is what I want a bit more of,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what you navigate through. Shifting to other dimensions is very complex. I don't understand everything of it, and you can't because it's not in your logic mind. We, as humans, we want to understand it in our logic mind, but it is really going deep into your heart, and it's a journey between the head and the heart, which is the hardest, and going into the feelings of how you feel and how it makes you feel and what state you are in, and that changes also your physical body. But then going really in further dimensions, it's beyond comprehension. It's beyond understanding. You don't need to understand it. Just let it.
Well, you know the definition of an expert, don't you?
You tell me.
All right. The definition of an expert is someone that knows more than the other person. So
But that's
when
always, I believe there's always somebody 2 steps ahead of me in their journey. And it doesn't mean that they're better, but they're just ahead in their journey. And I will be 2 steps ahead of somebody else's journey. And that's why we
exactly,
help, and that's why we're all here to connect it, to help each other, to make that
and
connection.
that's what I meant by the expert, because
Hmm.
you only have to be one step ahead, but you know more, so you can share that knowledge and all of that. So now you mentioned breath work. Can you give us an example of what you mean by breath work?
The practice I do, and what I said, I've done so many different breath works, and of course, you got your breath work within like a yoga class and a yoga session, the pranayama. Um, you got some breath work quite often with meditation. We do breath work to really calm down and take 3 deep breaths. There's so many different breath work techniques. The one what is the most profound for me. And that's just out of my experience is the rebirthing breath work. So actually you breathe through your nose, in and out through your nose and consistently, and you're actually breathing through your chest, which is very uncommon because that's normally when you're stressed, that's where you breathe. And then you breathe it through your belly is more the relaxing way. This is based on Leonard Orr, um, and Daniel Kutz. Santara is my practice and my trainer in that field. So Leonard Orr is the one who found this breathwork technique, and yeah, it's just incredible because you bring your mind and your body in a state that is very relaxed, but it really shifts all the energy. It's places it needs to be shifting. I do some body work, polarity body work with it as well, which is the energy and moving that through with some body work, which is just healing on your body, physical body. But it is mainly the breath work and you going through whatever you're going through and the release you have. Quite often you see people getting the cramping of the hands and the fingers and the toes, but that's actually resistance and holding on. And that's where the energy is stuck. So when you feel stuck and you get that, that's what happens. And then you breathe through it. You need to let it go. When you let it go, you relax again. and you feel the energy shifting in through your body. And the places that people had pain or a dis-ease or feeling not well in a particular part of their body, that releases all with breath work. It's incredible how we all connected with that. And you can truly heal a lot of diseases in your body with changing what you think in your mind, the words you speak, and how you feel in your heart by doing a lot of the breath work.
So years ago, I went to a coaching NLP course actually, or a coaching course, one or the other. I can't remember. Done too many, and the teacher was saying, when something happens to you, the first thing you do is you hold your breath.
Yeah.
And that's when you're locking it all in. And so that's why it's so important to have that breath work, to keep breathing through that, so that you can unlock what you locked in the past. Is that kind of like what it's about?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's detoxifying your body as well. It's detoxifying again and again, because when you take a breath in, it's fresh air. When you're breathing out, it's all what you no longer need, and releasing that as well. Everything we do is detoxifying. So it's not what I said, the food you eat or doing that juice, but definitely the breathing is the life force. It's your life force. If you don't breathe, you're dead.
It's
That's
true. I think if we have a look at what's most important, is you got to
it's,
breathe first, then you go drink and eat, I suppose.
yeah, and it's again looking at that hierarchy of Maslow.
Maslow's, yeah.
Yeah, the needs we need is food, water, and shelter, but breath is is the main one, because otherwise, if we don't breathe, then there's no life. And
Yeah.
that's what we want to shift that energy, and life, breath is life, is energy. Energy is life. So if we want to change, we want to shift, you shift that through breath. It's one of the ways. It's not the only. It's one of.
And that gets me to, I suppose, the next question is, you help people out by doing a lot of breath work, I assume, right?
But the main thing, I'm a master NLP, timeline, and hypnosis as well. I do a lot of work with timeline therapy, and really, as I said, the emotional alchemist. So removing all the emotions, removing the past, limited beliefs, and in body, mind, and soul. It's not just the mind, but it's just removing all that. Because if you don't detox and get the shit out of you, you can't put stuff back in, and that's what we do. And that's, you move that with breath work, I move that with timeline therapy, and then understanding who you really are, what your values are, before you really can create your life and shift into that new dimension and that new world.
So can you explain to sorry, can you explain to us just a little bit more what timeline therapy is? Because again, people might not know what it is or understand what it is.
No, of course, yeah, no, and I truly get that, because by me doing a lot of the work, I was actually practicing a lot of those tools, but I couldn't put a name on it. So timeline therapy is actually going through literally your timeline. You actually discover your timeline, and then you work with your timeline. So all the events, what has happened in the past with you, and that can be all the way at birth or before birth. It can also be generations ago, if that's what you believe in. If you don't, that's perfectly fine as well. And we're going through and we're releasing actually what you said, all those big emotions of fear and anger and sadness. But everything has happened in your life. And when you're going back into the trauma, but it is releasing that trauma, because going into all the events, that doesn't really make a lot of difference. It's not reliving the past, it's actually removing it and giving it a place in, and actually, come to a place of forgiveness and acceptance. And then you actually go through, it's a certain way of processing what has happened in the past and give it a past and see the world in a different light. Because if you stay in the same way, you see the world the same way, you're not changing. So there's been so many conditions been put on, so many masks, not literally, but all sorts of masks been put on and labels. You need to be this, you need to look like this. What is your title? Your mom, your father, your businesswoman. You got this career. Is that really truly you? or is that somebody says that this is who you are? So it's finding who you truly are, and removing all those labels and those masks, and all those stories people told you that is what it is, and finding your truth in the world, and finding the truth in the world of your world. And if you find that, then you know who you are, and then that's really the timeline you go through. But you then also be in the present, and who are you right now, and who you want to become, and where do you want to shift to?
And that's so important because there's so many things, as what Joe Dispenza says. 95% of your time is just living in the past, remembering. You wake up in the morning and you're remembering everything in the past. So you relive in the past. And if you don't change that, your future is what your past is.
Yep.
And so by finding those areas in your past and changing them, you can change your future.
Yeah, and living in the past as well. People are in such a fear mode, and you can't be in fear when you know the energy levels as well. There's so many different energy levels, and if you're in fear, which is one of the lowest levels of energy, you can't be in love and joy and happiness, because that's way up. You can't even see it way up here, but you can't be at the same time. So if you don't let go of the fear and the worry from the past, live now and be in that joyous moment,
Yeah.
won't shift. You need to shift through all those energy levels to get there. And that's we need to go through your timeline and remove the fear, the sadness, the anger, and all those kind of things what has been built up. And be aware of it, and know what your triggers are, and then you be able to deal with it and take the action on how you don't want to react when it happens. But if you're not aware, you kind of let it happen again and again, and that's why you go into that cycle of continuously doing the same thing over and over again, and that's insanity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because of this website or this Facebook group is about money, it's the same thing about money. If you have a bad relationship with money, if you don't change that, you're going to continue to have a bad relationship with money. So part of the process is going into the past and releasing all those negative things you had around money.
Absolutely. And money is energy. Energy is money. It's an exchange of energy. It's I have something but you don't have, if that's goods or services, or and there's something you want to get and you want to pay me for that, and if that's money or if that's in a different way, there's the barter system and all sorts of exchange systems, but it is an exchange of energy. But if you want to attract more energy, you need to change, because at this moment you're not attracting the money you want, for whatever reason. It's not about the blaming of you do something wrong, not being wrong or right or wrong, but something is not working, whatever that is. So you need to shift that. You need to shift the energy, and then the money flow will change as well. But it's also, I see it all as it's all connected as the wheel of life. You got a wheel of life, divided in different pieces, and one is wealth and money, but the other one is your health and well-being. The other one is your career or your business. One is your spiritual being, and the other one is your physical health. So, it's if that's crooked and it's not in alignment, that whole wheel can't roll smoothly, and that's how you're not rolling smoothly through life. And if you fix one area of your life and break through in one area of your life and change that, and if most people start with the health and well-being, that's just a bit of that. It's a logic thing. They can see it, they can feel it, they can smell it, they can see the difference if they lose a couple of kilos. Then they believe, okay, I can change, and then they will start changing other things. Then they will start changing their relationship, their communication with relationship, all those kind of tools you then gain, and you change one part of the pie at the time till that round and smooth again. And that's when you then start to live truly the life you want to live in all areas of your life. And then money as well, but you can't be happy in your relationship and not getting the money in.
Yeah.
It's that doesn't work. There must be something that is not right in your relationship as well. the money is not flowing. And that's okay. It's not about being perfect. We're not all a 10 out of 10. And it's a work in progress, but we need to work on it. So if you want to create more money and you want to get that abundance and you want to get in that flow of life, you need to change that in all areas of your. And what I said, most people start with health and well-being. And that's the breakthrough. You need to go on to that journey, but you need to release all the old stuff first before you can step into your new version.
So that's fascinating. Now, if somebody was to come to you and they're stuck in life, they're on the couch wondering, what am I going to do with my life? I'm a powerful woman that runs all these hotel chains, luxury chain. What would be your first steps to helping them? Like, would you spend an hour with them, try and find out what they want? What would be the first steps that you would take?
Yeah, as I was sitting on that couch, I really knew what I didn't want, but I didn't know what I wanted. So the first is listening, listening what people say, because the words you speak is where you are right now, and it's a reflection of where you are right now. But people can't listen to themselves, so they need somebody else to listen to them. And it's a personal journey. It's personalized. You can't make everything the same for everybody because we're all unique. It's the same. So nothing works the same. So understanding what lights them up, what excites them, and what are they missing in life? Where are they now and where do they want to go? And then make a plan on how to get there.
Right. And I'm going to assume, I did this thing about assume, make an ass out of me and an ass out of you. But if I just put it on YouTube. Anyhow, so people that want to get in touch with you, you're a part of this group, so they can just connect with you on this group. They can connect with me on this group, and we can all just, they can connect with you and take it from there. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And if people have some questions or something was not really clear, or they're like, what do you mean by that? I'm here to help. I'm here to share my knowledge. So, it's not all about working together. It's just sharing the knowledge and getting that next step into your journey, wherever that might be. And I love this whole community feel because that's what we're all here together. So if that's a couple of things I can share in the group or personally with people, let me know. Connect with you, connect with me. That's why we're all here in this group together. So
that was actually something you said to me before we came live, was that you want to share your wisdom. You feel as though that's part of your journey right now, is sharing that wisdom. So if anybody does have questions, please ask. You can drop it in the chat. If you want it to be personal, just connect with Nicolette on Facebook, and you'll find her in the group. She's not going anywhere. I hope.
And that's what I think. It's we're here to help each other. You can't do it by yourself, and that's what I found myself very lonely in many times, because people didn't understand what I was saying, what I was going through. And the minute I connected with people, and I've done a lot of like women's circles and also men's circles and relationship circles. You're sitting there with a group of people, like 40 people, and they all put their hand up when you tell your story, and they all say, yeah, I resonate with that one way or the other. It's just incredible, powerful. And we all resonate with something I've just said and something you're going through, because we're all connected. So yeah, and don't try to do it by yourself, because that doesn't work. I've tried that doesn't work, and you're so much more encouraged and empowered when you do it all together.
Yeah, and that's actually part of my journey, is a bit of a lone wolf, and island to myself. And it's one of the reasons why I started this group, was because it is important you can't do everything by yourself. And the analogy that comes from Rich Dad Poor Dad, no, not Rich Dad Poor Dad, from Think and Grow Rich, was that if you take one battery, right, it provides a certain amount of energy. But if you take two batteries, it doesn't double your energy, it triples your energy. So if you've got 6 or 7 batteries, you've got 6 or 7, 10, 50 times more power. And as Napoleon Hill calls it, it's a mastermind group. It's a group of people coming together with the same goal. And this group, this community's goal is about helping everybody navigate called money, or not so much money itself, it's the energy around money, so that they can attract what they want and live the lifestyles that they want. Because there are too many people that are waking up dreading. I had a client last week, first meeting, and because I'm a financial advisor, and he's contacted me because he wants to have a look at his superannuation. And very quickly into our conversation, he says he's terrified of money. And I go, well, I can't help you if you're going to be terrified of money, because that's where your energy is going. If your energy is going to be terrified, so I can help you 5% with the financial planning aspect of it, but let's change your energy to money, and let's change your relationship to money. And now that was the first step, and that's what this group is about. And being a part of this group, it really helped me to have the conversation I was having with this new client of mine, because I'm talking about it. And Sally and I have been doing this for about 2 months now. And the momentum is really building, because it's not such a scary thing anymore.
No, it's the old beliefs. We believe that's true, and we need to break through those beliefs. And again, it's right or wrong, but it's your beliefs. But the beliefs you've been given is not always the one to have, and that's what you need to get rid of. And that's what I said. That's the timeline therapy you go through. How have you created those beliefs, and how have they been created for you? And removing those and having new beliefs instead of new beliefs, that will change you.
And one of the things is, when you're doing timeline, and you correct me if I'm wrong, right, because I'm guessing here, but things happen in your life. It's your timeline. So when you're 5 years old, something's happened, and then it's created a recurring theme in your life. That's probably been getting worse and worse as you progress. But if you go back to the time of 5 years old, does it wipe out everything beyond the 5 years old?
Yeah, and before and after.
And before and after.
If you make that decision to do so, and you take the learnings from what you learned, and that's what you put in the present.
Yeah. Okay.
So you make mistakes, and you don't repeat the same bad habits.
Yeah. Okay. So this is fascinating stuff. So anybody that wants to have a look or find out more about this timeline therapy, or the breathing work, or going into how many dimensions have you gone? How far have you gone?
I don't even know, because you don't know.
You don't know. Well, you're talking your friend went to the 46th dimension.
Yeah. Oh, I've been up to the 20s for sure.
So into the 20s.
Yeah.
So maybe you should write a book about all these different dimensions and what it feels like. That's one thing that fascinates me.
I've just finished my chapter in my co-author book today.
There we go. She's just finished. What's that book? Well, when you get that book out, you're going to have to let us know. So we can sponsor.
Awakened Feminine, and that was my whole journey, what I just talked about earlier today. It's a co-author book with 22 other beautiful women. In this case, doesn't mean that men can't read it. I think there's a lot of beautiful stories for men to read. It's not about what I said. It's not about being a man or a woman. It's about the feminine energy or the masculine energy.
Well, the first thing you said was that you were stuck in the male energy. Yes. And you had to discover the female energy. So it's not about because you're a man or a woman. It's the energy that it's the way you think. You were a go-getter, go and conquer the world.
Still, but balanced more with the feminine.
All right, then. Well, this has been fascinating. Thank you for your time.
No, it's been a great pleasure, and I'm very grateful and honored that you asked me to come along here. And what I said, if anybody has any questions or whatever, reach out privately or in the group.
In the group,
we go along.
So you're in there. All right. Well, thank you for that.
Thanks, Paul, and have a good day, everybody.